Page Geography is a story of land and people. A land filled with natural resources, from the Rocky Mountains to the Sonora Desert, the San Francisco Bay to the Mississippi, the Grand Canyon to Niagara Falls. Since 2000 BC, when the Native Americans settled on this continent, people from all over the world have made this land their home. With lush forests, sweeping prairies, coastal plains, and bustling cities, the land is as diverse as the people who live here. North to south, east to west, each region of the United States is a piece of living history, shaping the heart and soul of the nation from sea to shining sea.
The Midwest and Great Plains region is located in the north-central portion of the country. It's often referred to as the Heartland, not only for its central location, but also because of its great importance in feeding and supplying the needs of the nation. The land is generally flat, without mountains, and touches many bodies of water, including 4 of the Great Lakes and the 3 largest rivers in the country. Both agriculture and manufacturing are very important in the Midwest and Great Plains region. Much of the food that feeds the nation is grown or raised here. And many goods, from tools and appliances to automobiles and airplanes, are manufactured here. 12 states make up the Midwest and Great Plains region. The eastern part of the region is generally known as the Midwest and is made up of the states of Ohio, Indiana, Illinois, Michigan, Wisconsin, Iowa, and Missouri. The western 5 states, Minnesota, North Dakota, South Dakota, Nebraska, and Kansas, make up part of the Great Plains. One of the most important geographic features of the region is the Great Lakes. Lake Superior, Lake Huron, and Lake Erie lie along the northeastern boundary, while Lake Michigan lies within the region. The nation of Canada forms the region's boundary on the north. In the east, it's bounded by the states of Pennsylvania and West Virginia. On the south, by Kentucky, Tennessee, Arkansas, and Oklahoma. And on the west, by Colorado, Wyoming, and Montana. Perhaps the most defining feature of the entire region is its relatively flat land, varying from low, rolling hills in some parts to vast areas of perfectly flat landscape, almost treeless, where you can see for miles. These flat, treeless areas are called plains. They receive less rainfall than the eastern part of the region, but enough to grow wheat and grasses. The rest of the region receives adequate rainfall to grow almost any crops. The combination of flat land, rich topsoil, adequate rainfall, and hot temperatures has made agriculture flourish throughout the region. Good transportation routes to the rest of the country meant the nation's heartland would also be the nation's breadbasket. The Midwest and Great Plains region produces most of the nation's corn, wheat, beef, and dairy products. Because of differences in rainfall and climate, each of these products is raised most abundantly in different sections of the region. The western part of the region gets just enough rainfall for growing wheat. The Great Plains states make up the richest wheat-producing area of our country, known as the Wheat Belt. The wetter states to the east, from western Ohio through Indiana, Illinois, and Iowa, form the Corn Belt, where most of the nation's corn is produced. The cooler climate and shorter growing season of Michigan, Wisconsin, and Minnesota means wheat and corn don't grow well, but pastures do, and dairy cows flourish here. The area is often called America's Dairyland because much of the nation's milk, butter, and cheese comes from this dairy belt. Beef cattle and soybeans are also raised in abundance. Almost all types of farm products, from fruits and vegetables to poultry and livestock, are produced within the region. Now, getting all this food to market was made easier by the region's central location within the country and by good transportation routes to foreign countries. The Great Lakes provide a shipping route via the St. Lawrence Seaway to the Atlantic Ocean. The Ohio and Missouri rivers run through the region and connect with the Mississippi River, which can carry barges of grains and other foods to the Gulf of Mexico. These are the three largest rivers in the country, and another of the region's outstanding geographic features. Railroads were easy to build across the region's flat land. Lakes, rivers, and railroads combined to form an excellent transportation network, along which many cities grew up. The largest city and unofficial capital of the region is Chicago. It's located at the southern end of Lake Michigan, where the river system meets the lake. It's the region's primary port for foods and manufactured goods being shipped overseas. Chicago is our nation's third largest city and home to the Sears Tower, the tallest building in the country. Wichita, Kansas, grew up in the last century as a shipping point for the beef cattle industry. Cattle were driven up the Chisholm Trail to Wichita, where they were shipped on to market on the newly built railroad.